Following allegations from a second woman indicating that Brett Kavanaugh may have sexually assaulted a Yale student by the name of Deborah Ramirez, a number of people who are aligned with Trump and Trump himself have come forward denying the accusation, saying that they still support Kavanaugh and that this is nothing more than a smear campaign. So before we get to the Conways and the Lindsey Grahams of the world, let's go to Donald Trump. He wanted to address these allegations made by Deborah Ramirez, and here's what he had to say.
Mr. President, people just have concerns about these.
He's a fine man with an unblemished past, and these are highly unsubstantiated statements from people represented by lawyers. You should look into the lawyers doing the representation. I think it could be, there's a chance that this could be one of the single most unfair, unjust things to happen to a candidate for anything. For people to come out of the woodwork from 36 years ago and 30 years ago and never mention it, all of a sudden it happens. In my opinion, it's totally political. It is totally political.
A good way to figure out whether this is a smear campaign and whether this is purely political and whether this is unfair and unjust is to call for the FBI to do an independent investigation. This would be a background check, a more thorough background check to see if any of these allegations might be true. But Donald Trump and Senate Republicans do not want that investigation to take place. So.
Yeah, the bar for Trump is so low now that whenever I watch a Trump clip and he doesn't say that water is tremendously wet, I feel like, oh, hey, he got through an answer without totally humiliating himself. Now, in this case, he's now actively decided that he's going to attack the people who might be victims of Kavanaugh, and he's decided, no, I'm all in. I'm going to call it all political. That they're made up. That they're totally made up, and that the Democrats worked with the lawyers for these women to make them up. I don't think that's a fruitful strategy, but that's super obvious. When was the last time Donald Trump had a productive strategy?
If right, exactly. So Kellyanne Conway was on CBS this morning, and she also addressed the latest accusations. Here's what she had to say.
Why does it not matter to anyone that Judge Kavanaugh has said unequivocally and categorically these allegations are false? He thinks the latest ones show a pattern of a smear campaign against him. And he has said from the beginning that he wasn't at the party in question 36 years ago in Maryland. All of that has to matter. But this president wants them both to testify, and the Senate Judiciary Committee has set up a process where they both can. I just don't think one man's shoulders should bear decades of the Me Too movement.
What does that even mean, that one man's shoulders should bear decades of the Me Too movement? No, like, he's being accused by two specific people at the moment. There could be a third based on what Michael Avenatti says. And by the way, let me just correct myself. She was addressing Dr. Blasie's allegations in that clip. And so, look, so her argument is, well, he says he wasn't at the party, so that means something. But it's he said, she said. Like, that's why you need to have an FBI investigation. And that's exactly what Republicans want. Lindsey Graham, talked about the hearing with Dr. Blasey, which is at the moment scheduled for Thursday. And he was asked if there are going to be any other people involved. Are there going to be any witnesses, anyone else speaking other than Brett Kavanaugh and Dr. Blasey? And he said no, that all you need to do is hear from those two. But then if you do that, again, it's a he said, she said situation. They don't want any corroborating evidence. It's crazy.
Yeah, so the general principles she lays out are perfectly fine, but when you, in this context, it makes no sense. So what do I mean by that? So if you said Charlie Rose shouldn't have to bear a whole Me Too movement on his shoulders, he's not. He's just being judged based on what he did. So nobody's judging Charlie Rose on what Harvey Weinstein did or what Roger Ailes or Bill O'Reilly did. They're just saying, Charlie, what you did was bad enough that you got to go, right? Now, if you said, hey, Aziz Ansari should not be judged for the actions of everyone else, you should just judge him based on what he did, well, we would agree to that too. And different people come out differently on that issue, but that's more of an open question and one that can be and has been debated, right? Then it's right to say, well, you can't put Weinstein on Aziz, 100% right. But nobody's putting Weinstein on Charlie Rose or on Brett Kavanaugh. They're all judged on the merits of their particular situation. If you said to me, Kavanaugh didn't do these things, but Weinstein and O'Reilly did, I'd be like, and why would I care what Weinstein and O'Reilly did in this context? You just told me the guy didn't do it. So of course he doesn't bear the burden of what other people did. So it's a straw man argument, okay? And then when she says, well, his point of view should also be taken into account. I don't know, I'm sure that there are people who don't take his point of view into account, but we do.
Right.
That's why it's not like we came out and we're like, we're positive. Okay, it's over. Ramirez is definitely right. Dr. Blasey Ford is credible, but not just credible, she's 100% right, and I don't care what he says. I don't think anybody reasonable is saying that. We're saying, yeah, that's why it's hard to figure out. He says it didn't happen. They have a credible case that it did happen. That's why we'd like to find out more.
Well, there is one specific person, a senator, who does not care what Dr. Blasey has to say. And this is the point that I was trying to make when the whole debate happened regarding whether or not Dr. Blasey should testify if the Republicans refuse the FBI investigation. I argue that these senators, Republican senators, have already made up their mind. They don't care what she has to say while she testifies. And guess who proved that point for me? Senator Lindsey Graham. So I'm gonna skip ahead to video 4. Here is Lindsey Graham arguing that, doesn't matter what she has to say, I've made up my mind.
I want to listen to her, but I'm being honest with you and everybody else. What do you expect me to do? You can't bring it in a criminal court. You would never sue civilly. You couldn't even get a warrant. What am I supposed to do? Go ahead and ruin this guy's life based on an accusation. I don't know when it happened. I don't know where it happened. And everybody named in regard to being there said it didn't happen. I'm just being honest. Unless there's something more, no, I'm not going to ruin Judge Kavanaugh's life over this.
Okay, so he also said that based on what's been agreed to on Thursday for the Thursday hearing, it will just be Brett Kavanaugh testifying and Dr. Blasey testifying. Things could change. Things are constantly changing. There are new allegations by another woman. And so Democrats are saying we need to postpone this and have an FBI investigation. But just to quickly answer Lindsey Graham's question, what do you want me to do? Here's what I want you to do. Here's what a lot of people want you to do. Have the FBI investigate this, do a thorough background check. He brought up, the statute of limitations is over, you can't have a criminal investigation. No one's asking for a criminal investigation. He even brought up a civil lawsuit. No one's asking for a civil lawsuit. We're asking for the FBI to get involved so we can have an independent organization try to determine who's telling the truth here.
And even barring that, the least you could do is to listen to the hearings with an open mind.
He's not interested in that.
Again, if it was a Democratic appointment or a Republican appointment and I was a senator on that committee, I would definitely want to hear both sides of the story. Because if it leads me to believe that he didn't do it, I'd be doubly pissed. If it leads me to believe that he did do it, then would I change my mind? Yes, of course I would change my mind. But here's a sitting United States senator going, I don't care. There's nothing she can say that makes you believe that?
Well, he
There's
doesn't want
nothing
to
he
ruin
could
his
say.
life. He doesn't want to ruin Kavanaugh's life by listening to that testimony and actually, being unbiased in this case.
If you thought, after listening to it, you thought, no, these allegations are not credible and I don't want to ruin the guy's life, okay. But before listening to it, saying I've already made up my mind, well, first of all, it's not the right thing to do. Second of all, it's also not a very savvy thing to say. If you were a little bit smarter, you would play politics better than this and you go, oh yeah, I got a total open mind. My God, my voters, you should understand what kind of an open mind I have. Then listen to it and then go, oh, well, golly gee, man, it turns out he's right and she's wrong, right? But now they're so brazen, they don't even care to lie anymore. They're like, no, I'm biased. I don't give a damn what anybody thinks. Hey, my Republican base, remember how biased I am in favor of the man and never the woman, okay, just so you know, and the conservative and never the progressive, and never anything else. It doesn't matter. I'm always going to be biased in favor of my team. Well, he probably thinks politically maybe that does help him because Republican voters don't care anymore, that they do want you to be biased and they don't care about the facts. Actually, now that I've put it like that, there is an argument to be made that Republican voters don't care about facts anymore, so this might appeal to them. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below. then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.